I have a bit of an odd fixation that I haven't really ever seen people talk about. Of course, since a lot less people are purchasing physical copies of video games these days, it does make sense, but I absolutely adore the little goodies you can find in the cases. Most Rockstar games have these big old poster-sized versions of their maps, and I think that's the coolest thing ever. I used to use the GTA 5 one and the Red Dead 1 maps as posters, and I think it'd be a really fun challenge to play one of these games without the in-game map and focus solely on the physical ones. I really do think it's odd that nobody ever talks about these treats, if not manuals. I bought a used and well-loved copy of GTA 5 once, and the map was in total pristine condition, never even taken out of the case. I personally love collecting the little manuals and trinkets inside of game cases. I wanted to whip them out for this video, but unfortunately I think they might be buried in some sort of box somewhere since I moved. Still, I wanted to talk about all the different kinds of secrets and traits that are in these cases, although it's somewhat of a dying art. I like manuals a lot, but I don't think my love could reach anywhere close to how much the geniuses behind Earthbound did. Just look at the thing. The box was so massive just so it could fit it, and it does not disappoint either. There's breakdowns of every enemy in the entire game, a complete guide to every area, unique art, tons of witty write-ups, scratch and sniffs, how to get secret and rare items and what their drop rates are. The manual is phenomenal, so phenomenal. It almost makes me want to play through the game again following it, because I genuinely think doing that would make this already brilliant game even more fun. It's 135 pages long, which is insane. A full breakdown of it could be its entire video, like if you would want to see that. It's considered a really rare piece of memorabilia. If you have one of these beauties, I am jealous, and even more if you got to experience Earthbound as a kid playing alongside this bad boy. It's the perfect example of what a manual should be. Dripping with personality and art, incredibly useful, and overall just providing a unique and even better experience to a game that's already incredible. This one's spoiler heavy, but I think the manuals for Halo are super cool. I think usually the best manuals are the ones that tell you tons of information in a stylistic way without compromising the feeling of actually interacting with those aspects in-game, but I think Halo's is great specifically for what they don't tell you. Combat Evolved does a great job of showing the player all the different weapons and types of enemies, except for one group. The Flood are entirely missing in this manual, and I love that. It really adds to the shock and terror of encountering them for the first time, and just how mysterious they are to mankind and the Covenant. Halo 2's is also great. It's from the perspective of the Covenant. Interestingly, it also keeps the Flood secret and starts off with a message from Thel 'Vadam, Halo 2's Arbiter, to the Prophet of Truth, surrendering to the Council in response to his failure to stop the destruction of Halo in the first game. It also gives us the legal names for all the types of alien forces in this game, as well as weapon breakdowns, the Covenants, of course, being labeled noble tools of conquest, and the humans being primitive implements of war. Through these means, Halo's manuals are incredibly immersive while being informative, perfectly setting the game's scene before you might even play the actual game. Now, something that I don't like that a lot of games would do, particularly during the PS4/Xbox One era, were the little voucher codes that would be inside. I know that really doesn't count as a manual, but if I can include the maps in the Rockstar games as manuals, anything else is fair game, okay? Some of these codes would be really cool, like free downloads of the art books or soundtracks or trials of subscriptions, but others really sucked. A lot of special editions for games wouldn't have the DLC included on the disc, but instead downloadable from the voucher inside. This is bad for two reasons. One, being that these codes have expiration dates, meaning if you finally pulled out your copy of Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition and tried to give it a whirl, you'd be totally locked out of the content that you already paid more money to get the copy with. And since the codes were all one-time use, if you bought the game secondhand expecting the bonus features, all you could have done is hope that the previous owner was unobservant or uncaring enough to miss the code. It was a really cheap and greedy way to force people out of buying their copy secondhand. This was later adapted into gating entire games behind these codes on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure if Xbox and PlayStation did this, but I know that it was a very prevalent issue on the Switch. Also, Final Fantasy XV didn't even come with a manual, by the way. It has a beautiful guidebook, but it's not included with the game. So I will baby rage over it. Final Fantasy VII has one, and it's beautiful. I want more of those. Let's bring it back with some Metal Gear Solid 4. Damn good manual here. Most of it's delivered in this comic, which tells a story while teaching you how to play. This is exceptional. If you couldn't tell, my absolute favorite manuals are the ones that combine storytelling and world building with information. Sonic 3's is a little bio for Knuckles since it's his first adventure, and it lets us all know that his favorite food is grapes, and that he's 15. At least this would have been before Sega decided that Sonic characters shouldn't have ages. Ni no Kuni's Collector's Edition came with a 352-page hardcover manual, and it's beautiful. This is launched in part because Ni no Kuni is beautiful. Some other manuals I'll quickly throw in here just for the sake of showing them to you would be Ocarina of Times, although all the Zelda manuals I've seen are great. Redneck Rampages is formatted like a satirical newspaper, and it's hilarious. Super Mario Worlds illustrates most of the gameplay aspects, and also calls lives Marios, which is very funny. Diablo 1 throws in a full lore dump about everything going on in the world, which could be its own book. We Love Katamari is just about everything you'd expect from something as cute as Katamari. There's an endless number of manuals like these, which is why it's so sad to see how they've kind of died off these days. I popped open my copy of Revenge of the Sith for the PS3 just today because I realized I'd never checked out its manual, and while I was a little disappointed by the contents of it, it's mostly just walls of text talking about just the controls and abilities. The very back reminded me of one of my favorite parts of manuals that I totally forgot about. There's this little ad promoting Dark Horse and Lucas Books' Star Wars graphic novels, and while that's not inherently special, I love the little historical insights that these ads give outside of their respective games. Promotions for other games, but especially real-world products that are long defunct. I remember ads for the old Ratchet & Clank mobile game that I'd never had the opportunity to play legitly, but thanks to community efforts is able to be played on archive.org. Of course, these aren't exclusive to manuals, but I still think they're cool. To my memory, at least, I've never been able to get my hands on any old gaming magazines that would have had a lot more of these, so manuals were my only real insight to the outer gaming world, outside of the internet. I'm not that old. The last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about in this video are fan-made manuals, and this isn't something that I really thought about before getting all the manual scans for this video, and out of curiosity, searching about video game manuals on Twitter, because I have a Twitter now, please follow. This account, Too Old for Gaming, has made a few manuals for old Vita games that never had them, notably Gravity Rush, one of my favorite games of all time. This is a really sick endeavor, and I think they do sell them on their website. Maybe not the same ones, as it's been a few years since the original post that I saw, but just the dedication towards something like manuals really makes me smile as someone who really does enjoy collecting them. It's truly heartwarming to see people who also care about the art even more than I do, and I hope at the end of this video you either feel the same way or can at least appreciate them too. Thank you for watching this video. It's kind of something that I've always wanted to talk about somewhere, and I figured here would be a great place. I'm still figuring out how to make videos and where I want to steer the identity of this channel, so I really do appreciate any feedback as long as it's constructive. If you have a favorite game manual that I didn't bring up or something that you would want to see me cover as I figure out where to take this channel, I would love to hear about it in the comments or even a DM on Twitter if that's too public. If this video does good, I'll probably end up doing like a game guidebook one, but that's something I'll get more in depth about if I decide to do it. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Goodbye.